Yeah. Playa T, that's me. Hollywood.
You see who I got? Now, I got to tell you, in the up running to Miss Vale coming on, you know, a lady reached out to us on Instagram, Playa T. You had Miss Vale Scott in your presence, you got royalty in your presence. Yeah, that's how the people feel about you.
Thank you.
You are loved in the community.
And I appreciate that.
Where do you think that's coming from?
Well, the many years that we've been in the community, people have been good to us. And
obviously you've been good back
in turn, we have tried to serve the community in a healthy and loving way.
Hold on, but before all that started with the healthy and fun way, it was kind of wild out in the nighttime life a little bit.
Well, a little bit. We served chicken wings and, back in the day. Can't deny that.
Can't deny that. Right.
We were known for our chicken wings,
you were
for our Polish boys.
Now, hold on. So much so, it was the place to be. So much so, because you had Veils on the Circle. So much so, you had stars come down there to be with you and hang out.
We really did.
People like Mike Tyson. Well, if it was all that chicken going on, why was he biting ears and stuff? You know what I'm saying? Come on, Mike. You had all the good chicken going. Like in those days, though, you couldn't foresee yourself getting into the healthy you back then?
Well, actually, I started living healthy. I was born and raised in Mississippi.
M-I crooked letter I.
And my grandparents and aunts had farms and raised their own food.
Wow.
So my mother always pushed eating healthy. That was something that was instilled in her from her mother.
Right.
So I had the background already set. The foundation was there.
Right.
You know, to live a healthy lifestyle, to live from the land.
Right.
Because we grew everything that we had.
Right.
All of our vegetables. We had fruit trees. We had chickens. My grandmother had pigs.
Right.
So the foundation was set.
Right. Now, in 2008, you opened up your own garden, the Purple Oasis.
In 2008, what had happened, my husband, Don, had the vision to buy land in University Circle.
Being a visionary.
That was like 25 or 30.
If that was a monopoly board, that'd be one of them good areas, you know what I'm saying?
It was 25 or 30 years ago.
Okay.
That he bought this land, you know, over an acre and a half of land.
Right.
And we bought it because we thought we would need it for extra parking for our facilities.
Wow.
You know, we had such big crowds that were coming.
Right.
But we didn't use it for parking. So when everyone started talking about the healthy eating, healthy living movement, I was doing workshops for Cleveland Clinic at Huron Hospital.
At the time.
At the time. And the CEO there asked me, would I help put a garden in?
Mr.
So I
Toby
said,
Crossgrove?
no, that was Dr. Gus Caius.
Okay.
Was the CEO of Huron Hospital.
Okay.
And I said, sure, I'd be delighted to do that. So,
why do you think he tabbed you for that?
Well, I approached him about doing cooking classes in the community. And he was very open to that. And once I started doing the cooking classes, there was a plot of land behind the hospital.
Okay.
And knowing the area, East Cleveland, there's a lot of people who had various health issues. Mm-hmm. And he also had a dialysis unit there at Huron Hospital. And he wanted the people to be able to, once they left the hospital, have a place and a way to grow their own food or at least know what healthy eating was.
Okay.
And he knew that that was my passion of sharing what I knew about preparing and growing food. Okay. And he knew a little bit about our background in the community, okay, that we had served so many people through the years, and that I really, really liked healthy eating and healthy living. Okay. So that's why I believe he asked me to help put the garden in.
Big! Huge! Can you imagine a big corporation like Cleveland Clinic being on your side, being on your team? How did that make you feel? It had to invigorate you. It had to give you life.
I was delighted. At first when I was told to go and talk with him, I just had the idea.
Who encouraged you to go talk to him?
At the time, Eric Brewer was mayor of East Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
So I had spoke to Eric about what I wanted to do.
Right.
And Eric knew me through the community. He says, well, go talk to Gus Caius. So when I approached Dr. Caius, he was very open, very warm. What he did tell me, he says, now, Val, I'm not cooking. I can't cook. I have to run the hospital. So if we do this collaboration, you'll have to set it up. You'll have to get the people to come in. You'll have to market it.
Right.
And that's what I did. I went out and talked to various organizations, various groups, and we ended up with our first class, about 20 people.
Wow.
A 4-week class.
Right.
And it was the basics.
Right.
How to chop, how to cut,
Right.
how to identify certain vegetables. People knew better. They would do better. That was my philosophy. If you know that something will help you, I think that you'll buy into it.
Right.
And also during that time, my husband started experiencing some health challenges. He had hypertension, congestive heart failure.
So you started to explore foods that would actually heal your husband?
That would actually, help him to live a better lifestyle.
Right. You hear that, ladies? Help your man.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are you growing over there in the garden?
Collard greens and cabbage. We have fresh kale, and we have tomatoes, zucchini. What else do we have? We have peppers, onions.
Can I get in the circle?
Yes, you are in the circle
I'll
as
roll up my
of right
sleeves.
now.
I'll roll up my sleeves.
You are in the circle as of
I'm
this
telling
moment.
you, because look, Hollywood Chuck brought some of your greenery back, and he said I didn't get it. He ate it all, Miss Bell.
He didn't share it at
He
all.
didn't share nothing. Just told me about it.
I sent you some tomatoes, some cucumbers, peppers.
Yeah. CC's home cooked catering is all that. You know what I mean? Now, do you go in your garden and pick out the vegetables and then juice? Do you do things like that?
I do juice. I juice like 3 or 4 days a week. What I do is I take the cabbage and I take collards. I mainly take collards and kale. Take them home and roll them like you roll a cigarette. Yeah. Cut them in strips, and then I wash them 2 or 3 times, and then I let them drain. And I take my greens and put it in plastic bags and put it in the fridge.
What does that do?
Well, it makes them crisp, and it retains the moisture.
Okay.
So in the morning when I get up, I have apples and carrots and pears, and I put my greens in my blender. Right. And then I cut up my fruit and put it in there. In fact, I put the whole apple in there because the blender, has a strong blade. And actually, I make a smoothie out of it.
Okay.
But I also have a juicer that I juice the greens. And then I take the juice from the greens and put it in my blender, put ice and frozen fruit. I freeze bananas, apples, and strawberries.
Do you have grandchildren?
I have 5 grandchildren. I have 4 girls and 1 boy.
Is it a thing about Grandma Val gonna bring us over some apples for Christmas? They get tired. Is it one of those things? For Christmas, you going in the garden?
Well, actually, they want other things. They want to come during the summer and be in the garden so they can run and play and pick tomatoes and eat them from the
What
vine.
about the wild nephew that just got out and he want to plant some other things in the garden? Does that go down?
Well, we have a spiral herb garden.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. Why do you think community gardening is so prevalent now?
Because people want to know where their food comes from. With the people with Monsanto doing foods that are not real, injecting things in foods, genetically modifying the food, people want to know, and it affects your health.
Wait a minute, Miss Bell, you remember when they stopped us from having garden in the cities?
You know, it's interesting that people talk about that the gardening movement now is so prevalent.
Right.
But when I came to Cleveland in the late 50s, everybody in the city, I lived on Quincy Avenue, and there were gardens in everybody's backyard. And another thing that was there was fruit trees.
Right.
You know, we're talking about, oh, we have to get an orchard in the city.
You got an orchard on your land.
We have an orchard. We have 50 trees.
I'm there.
Apple, cherry, pear
I'm there.
on our land.
I'm there.
But this was a gift. This was a gift. United Parcel Service donated 50 fruit trees to us.
Now, when I seen that, when I read that, I had to think to myself, why would the United Parcel System give such a great gift like that? What is their motive? What was their motivation behind it, to your knowledge?
Well, they had read about what we were doing in the community, and they are very good. They have a foundation, and they like to help people in the community live healthier. So they read an article about some of the things that we were doing, and I got a call one day, we would like to donate 50 fruit trees to you.
Wow.
Not only did they donate them, but their volunteers, about 30 United Parcel Service volunteers, came out on a weekend and planted those 50 trees for us.
How real is that? So little kids, make sure you get up under the bosom of Miss Vale.
You know, where we're located, we're on the corner of Frank Avenue and Petrarca in the heart of University Circle. And at one time, it was this acre and a half of land, just had grass, and we had to keep it mowed. And as we got out there and started to plant, people took notice. It's a very good corner. We're right across the street from a mosque. Right. And people began to notice what we were doing.
Right.
And they saw myself and 2 or 3 other volunteers out there clearing rocks. We must have cleared 10,000 rocks, in a matter of a couple of weeks' time.
Wow.
And they saw the transformation. And people who we didn't even know noticed what we were doing. And I think that's what brought attention to us. And they kept saying, well, she's a former nightclub owner, and she has reinvented herself. And I have reinvented myself a number of times.
Wow.
I was a former court reporter. I had a court reporting firm in downtown Cleveland.
Okay.
But all of these things involve people and involve teaching and involved learning.
Right.
So it was just a natural to just sort of spin off into a healthier lifestyle.
Well, that sounds like attributes of Christ, like building, healing, teaching. Right? That's Christ-like, right here in the flesh,
Yeah, it is.
Good.
Sharing what you know.
Right.
Sharing what your passion is.
Right.
And being able to help people. But we've gotten so much help through the years from the hundreds of people who came through our doors.
Now, let's talk about your enthusiasm to get out around the country and speak about this stuff. You like to travel and speak and do cooking demonstrations.
I love to travel. So once we sold Vels, I had to decide, what do I want to do when I grow up? So my kids, said, well, have you ever thought about just staying home and doing nothing? I said, absolutely not.
Right.
So combining the travel, my love of food, I was able to do workshops in various parts of the city. Again, being from Mississippi, one of the first calls I got, my nephew is part of the legislative department with the Jackson government. So he called me and asked, what are you up to, Auntie Val? I know you're doing something. So I said, yeah, I'm doing a workshop. So he says, there's going to be a conference in Mississippi. Would you like to come and participate and do a workshop on healthy eating? I said, absolutely. Right. So word just sort of spread around. This is what she does. This is what she likes to do. And I was just blessed to be able to be at the right place at the right time.
Right.
To do these workshops.
Right. Now, do you feel like your work, what you're doing, is reaching young women and putting them in a frame of mind that they need to be in?
Absolutely. I met a young woman named Kim Foreman, who is a part of Environmental Health Watch. And Kim is very active in the healthy living, healthy eating movement. So Kim put together a workshop where we were able to work with women from many of the public housing estates, many of in areas in the Kinsman, Quincy, Woodland area. Right. And those were families that we would do workshops for. So young children, young mothers, So it really has had an impact.